We had gathered evidence to formulate a PC that we submitted to the court, and the judge did find probable cause for an arrest of Richard Allen. He's been charged with 2 counts of murder for the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German.
Abby and Libby, those 2 best friends who went for a little walk, a hike, ended up murdered, and the murder scene, you know, we haven't gotten a lot of details in this case, but what we've heard, absolutely horrific what happened to these 2 young girls. It's the Delphi murders, went unsolved for years, then the big announcement, but it kind of came out of left field. There were so many people who folks were looking at, right? Oh, their actions were suspicious. This person's actions were suspicious. This guy, not even on the radar. Matt Johnson has more for us tonight.
Best friends 14-year-old Libby German and 13-year-old Abby Williams were dropped off for a walk at the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi, Indiana, and were never seen alive again.
They got out of my car. I made sure they both had sweatshirts. I told them goodbye. I told Libby I loved her. They walked out, and that was the last time I saw them.
They never showed up to be picked up, and the next day, February 14, 2017, search volunteers found the girls' bodies in the woods. The mystery of the so-called Delphi murders was a big story across the country, and investigators revealed very few clues, including possible suspect sketches and parts of a recording found on Libby's cell phone. Nearly 6 years had passed with no real leads. Then, in October of 2022, a break in the case, an arrest.
Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation.
Police revealed their suspect had been living in plain sight all along. Richard Allen was a local husband and father, working as a farm tech in the town's CVS.
Now we have a person charged with it, right? We have a face, we have a name.
What would you say to Libby after you guys finally got this guy behind bars?
Oh, I believe that she helped lead them. I believe that she was steering all along. And I believe she's up there quite excited.
According to the probable cause affidavit, Allen placed himself on the trail when interviewed by police in 2017 and admitted to seeing the girls there. Police say an unspent round found near the girls' bodies went through a gun that belonged to Allen. And a witness allegedly placed a man who looked like Allen walking near the trail wearing muddy and bloody clothes.
It's scary just knowing that he was so close, and we had no idea.
Richard Allen has pleaded not guilty and denies any involvement in the murders of Libby and Abby.
This case so extremely frustrating, as you heard in Matt's piece. I mean, this guy who gets arrested puts himself there on the day of the murder. Like, puts himself there. Back in 2017, there was never any follow-up with this guy. Why not? Daryl.
I wish I knew. Sometimes police do what you think they should do. Other times,
it's the highest profile case in the country.
They may have just not known what to do, so they sat on their hands, fearful that whatever they did would have been wrong.
He looks like the guy in the video. He has the same clothes as the guy in the video.
Somewhere in that file is where the pathway stopped. And it stopped with somebody either approving, guys, go work on something else, or it stopped with someone's notes that never got picked up again. And I think
he was there. I was there. I saw the girls. And by the way, I'm built exactly like the guy in the video. I am built exactly like him. And oh, by the way, yeah, I've got a jacket just like that as well. I mean, so now, knowing all this, right, and the fact that the girls were texting with a known child pornographer who is not Richard Allen, a guy named Kagan Klein in his Anthony Shots Instagram account, and the fact that the police released sketches of two different people, one who kind of looks like the defendant, another who looks like some young guy. Like, who is the guy on the right? Like, I don't even know who he is. What does that do to this trial?
It
creates reasonable doubt.
It
I mean,
is so convoluted. There's going to be so much evidence that you cannot explain that gives them so much reasonable doubt, regardless of whether he's guilty, or not guilty.
The state better come up with something really strong, really forensically solid. If it's just speculation,
that's going to be the gun.
Like
it's going to be the gun.
One bullet.
One bullet that wasn't fired. It was found on the ground in the general proximity, and certainly you can extrapolate from that. But I can also extrapolate that if you go to my hunting land, you'll find some unspent rounds that have fallen out of people's pants on the trails. Not saying it happens all the time, but reasonable doubt is big.
But so much is going to depend on his presence in that jury, how he looks, how he dresses, how he acts, his facial expressions, his
right
body
now, he
language.
looks like a feeble old man.
Well,
that's going to be helpful to him.
And, you know, the other thing that the defense is going to play up is that when you have this much of a gap in time, if you have 6 years until arrest, and what does he do? He continues to live his life. He's married. He works as a pharmacy technician at the local CVS. All of this is played up to show, would a guilty person act like this? They would run. They would hide. They wouldn't sit down with the police and give an interview. All of that continues to go toward the defense's theme of not guilty.
He called him a pharmacy technician. That may be technically true, but he was also in there developing people's pictures.
Well,
and I don't know what he's doing with those pictures. I know that but for the memorials for the two girls, he's the one who developed the pictures that the parents used, and he gave it to them for free.
Well, maybe he felt bad. I mean, there's so many explanations that are reasonable that his defense team could use. I felt sorry for them. Yes, I was on the trail with them. I empathize with you as the parents. I feel so terrible. So I'm giving it to you for free because you're going through hell every minute of every day.
Every fact that you've talked about that can be construed against him can also be construed positively. He gave services to the victim's family because he could, because he worked as a developing person. He cooperated with the police, told him everything. Why?
He
wanted to make sure
that
they
he
had
was there that
information.
day.
He told them. That's not what we typically think about with a guilty mind like Molly's talking about.
Yeah, this is extreme. I'm not confident going into this trial. And again, I'm a former prosecutor, folks. That's the way I see the world. But I'm not confident necessarily in this prosecution because this man put himself at the scene of the double murder at the time, and you did nothing for 5 years. You did nothing for 5 years. And that, to me, that's inexplicable, it's inexcusable, and I'm afraid that by trying to explain how all that happened, it's just going to unravel their case even more. The other thing is now he doesn't look right there. He kind of looks like the guy in the famous video, but since he's been in prison,
looks like they're killing him.
He's losing all that weight, and he no longer looks like the killer.
But there's something else. If he is not convicted, sometimes the mere fact of being prosecuted, going through it financially and emotionally, is some serious punishment. Melvin Belli used to say, by the time they paid my fee, they've been punished enough. Well, I don't know if he's paying a fee, but I suspect he's being severely punished, and if he's guilty, deservedly so.
I mean, this case needs to be solved. It needs to be solved.
I mean, it needed to be solved 6 years ago, and that's the problem.
Yeah, coming in this late, this far away with a cooperative witness, locking him up without a bond, it clearly, the hardship he's physically endured is shocking.
And what is the Kagan Klein factor? Kagan Klein is the man that they were texting with, the Instagram account that he set up, right? He's been accused and admitted to downloading lots of child porn. He's the one communicating with the girls on the morning of the murder. He lives there. You know, what are the odds? I mean, does there have to be some connection between Kagan Klein, the child pornographer, and the killer?
Could there have been? Could Alan
Does there have to be for this jury?
No, but you know, he could have developed porno for Klein.
Could you find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt knowing that these children were also at the same time texting with a known child pornography.
Right. What
Could you ever
what
say,
are the odds in this
certainly
small
he-
community of
Yeah.
Delphi, right? I mean, I know there's perverts everywhere. This is a small town. What are the odds on the day of the murder that they're down there texting with, they think it's a guy named Anthony Schatz. They stole some, catfish, some male model photos of this young guy, and they're communicating. And then just randomly, another pedophile shows up and abuses them and murders them?
Right. I mean, as a defense lawyer, you always think, how can I craft doubt? How can I hold the government to their burden of proof and argue reasonable doubt? But in this case, with these facts, you're going into that courtroom with something far more significant than reasonable doubt. You're going in there with an alternate suspect, and that is powerful.
Unbelievable.
The
All right.
odds are infinitesimal.
That's a problem. That's a problem. All right, folks, take a look. We've got a big hearing tomorrow in this case, Indiana versus Richard Allen. No cameras in for this, but the court will still consider potential cameras for the trial.